Hello everyone, I am Daniel Clemens, the HEMA Vtuber, and today I would like to introduce you to one of my favorite historical fencing manuals. That will be Alfred Hutton's The Swordsman. Today I will be reading from part 2 of this manual, dealing with the single stick and saber. If you have a copy of your own, feel free to follow along. If not, I will be including all of the illustrated figures, and I hope you enjoy this video. The single stick and saber. The system of play with these two weapons is one and the same, the single stick being nothing more than a cheap and nasty substitute for the fencing saber as used in every country except our own. They are employed both for cutting and thrusting. The saber should be a light one, thickened almost into a button at the point, and supple enough to obviate any risk of inflicting injury in delivering the thrust. The best pattern that I am acquainted with is that made by Messrs. Pillen of Gerrard Street, Soho, according to my directions, as it combines all the above qualities, and has, moreover, a grip sufficiently long to enable it to sit comfortably in the hand, with the thumb in its proper place, while its shell is very broad and affords ample protection to both hand and forearm. When the lightsaber is used, the helmet should be constructed with close wirework, like that of the mask, as a guarantee against the penetration of the point. The parts of the saber. The saber, like the foil, has its two great component parts, the hilt and the blade. And this latter has, in addition to the forte and the foible, its defensive and offensive portions. The false edge, that sharp part of the back which extends from the point to the place where the groove usually begins, a distance of about 8 inches. How to hold the saber or stick. The fingers must be lightly but firmly closed around the grip, with the thumb extended along the back of it, the center knuckles being in line with the edge. The thumb may, however, during an encounter, sometimes be shifted and placed round the grip, similarly to the fingers. Figure 18. First position. The first position is similar to that used in the foil lessons, save that the left hand is closed and placed on the hip, from which it is not removed during the execution of the lunge. The guards. The medium guard. The medium guard is the best suited for both attack and defense in this branch of our art. It is, like the medium of foil fencing, neither court nor tierce, but just between the two. The edge is inclined downwards. The point is opposite to the opponent's face, the right hand and forearm entirely covered by the shell, and the elbow advanced some 4 inches in front of the body. Figure 19. The position is known as court medium or tierce medium, according to the side on which the blades are engaged. This guard is the more to be recommended owing to the absence of any strain on the arm or shoulder, which is often the effect of other positions. The sword hand is now lowered until the pommel rests on the thigh some 6 or 8 inches above the knee. The arm is now in a state of absolute repose, which will be found useful in a long encounter at times when the opponent happens to be out of reach. The hanging guard. This old-fashioned position has its use as a shelter under which to recover after having made an attack, whether successful or otherwise. It is a safeguard against an honest riposte and also against a foul blow some ill-conditioned fellows are wont to give instead of acknowledging when they are touched. It is formed by dropping the point, turning the edge up, raising the hand a little higher than the head, and looking at the opponent under the forte of the sword. Figure 21. Preparatory lessons, the Moulinets. The object of these exercises is to impart strength and flexibility to the wrist joint, from which all cuts should in the main proceed. They consist of 6 cuts, The first, a diagonal cut downwards from right to left. The second, a diagonal cut downwards from left to right. The third, diagonal upwards from right to left. The fourth, diagonal upwards from left to right. The fifth, horizontal from right to left. And the sixth, horizontal from left to right. To assist the beginner, a circular target a few inches in diameter with 2 diagonal lines and 1 horizontal line passing through its center drawn upon it should be hung on the wall at about the height of a man's shoulders. The lines indicate the course taken by the 6 cuts. The moulinets must be executed with the wrists and fingers only, and never with the elbow or shoulder. They must be performed quite slowly at first in order to ensure correctness. The speed must be gradually increased, and the circular movement repeated 5 or 6 times at least without stopping. Moulinet 1. Motion 1. Extend the sword arm completely, the hand to be in court, and the point a little raised, the hilt being at about the height of the chin, and the edge directed obliquely downwards towards the left. Motion 2. Drop the point diagonally downward from right to left, taking care that the edge leads during the passage of the blade along the lines of the target. Then allow the wrist to revolve so as to bring the thumb downwards and the back of the hand and the flat of the blade opposite to the left side, and cause the sword to describe a complete circle, thereby bringing it again to the position described in the first motion. Moulinet 2. Motion 1. Extend the sword arm, the hand to be in tierce, and the edge directed obliquely downwards towards the right. Motion 2. Drop the point diagonally downwards from left to right, and after the sword has passed its line on the target, allow the wrist to revolve until its inside is uppermost and the point of the sword to the right rear. Complete the circle, and thus bring the sword again to number 1. Moulinet 3. Motion 1. Extend the sword arm, the hilt being, as before, about the height of the chin, with the blade in the position of septime, the point being depressed about 10 inches, and the edge directed obliquely upwards towards the left. Motion 2. Carry the edge diagonally upwards from right to left until it has passed the line on the target. Then turn the back of the hand up and complete the circle by dropping the point to the right rear, and thus bring the sword again to number 1. Moulinet 4. Motion 1. Extend the arm, the hilt being about the height of the chin, the blade assuming the position of second, the point depressed about 10 inches, and the edge directed obliquely upwards towards the right. Motion 2. Carry the blade obliquely upward from left to right until it has traversed the line on the target. Then allow the hand to revolve until the nails are uppermost, and thus continue the circle until the sword is again in the position of number 1. Moulinet 5. Motion 1. Extend the arm, the point of the sword to be directed about 10 inches to the right of the target, with the edge towards the left. Motion 2. Carry the blade horizontally along the line of the target from right to left. Then turn the back of the hand up and complete the circle by passing the point of the sword over the head in a position as nearly horizontal as possible, and thus come again to number 1. Moulinet 6. Motion 1. Extend the arm with the back of the hand up, edge to the right, and the point about 10 inches to the left of the target. Motion 2. Carry the blade horizontally from left to right, and when it is past the target, turn the nails up and complete the circle above the head, returning to the position of number 1. Figure 20. The figure of 8 consists of a continuous combination of Moulinets 1 and 2, or 3 and 4. The direct attacks. The direct attack is that which is made upon any uncovered part of the opponent's person without having had recourse to a previous movement for the purpose of creating such opening. It is of 3 kinds, namely the cut with the true edge, the point, and the cut with the false edge, to which later I shall devote a special paragraph or 2. It is delivered either with or without a disengagement, which movement is made over the adversary's point, in the case of a cut, as in the cut over of foil fencing, and under the blade when the thrust is used. The cuts should be performed not as a target, as in the case of the Moulinets, but in a personal lesson with the master, and the student can practice them also, with advantage to himself, at home against a dummy. Each cut is to be delivered on the full lunge, figure 21. And whether it succeeds or whether it is parried, the swordsman must instantly recover to his guard. It must be given with that part of the blade in which lies the center of percussion, about 8 or 10 inches from the point. It must strike the object at the moment when the foot reaches the ground on the lunge, and it must be finished with a little jerk or spring of the wrist, followed by a drawing movement. To attempt to give 2 cuts, remise, on the same lunge is bad swordsmanship, because a capable opponent is certain to riposte immediately after parrying the first of them. Figure 21. There are 7 principal cuts, and they are directed at specific parts of the body as follows. Cut 1. Deliver cut 1 of the Moulinets at the opponent's left cheek or neck. Cut 2. Deliver cut 2 of the Moulinets at the right cheek. Cut 3. Deliver cut 3 of the Moulinets at the outside of the right leg. Cut 4. Deliver cut 4 of the Moulinets at the outside of the right leg. Cut 5. Deliver cut 5 of the Moulinets at the left side or the belly. Cut 6. Deliver cut 6 of the Moulinets at the right side, just under the ribs. Cut 7. Deliver a vertical downward cut at the center of the head. As occasion may require, these cuts may be directed at parts other than those here named. For instance, cuts 1 and 2 may be given at the leg or at the sword arm. The point. If the point is given within the sword, the hand must be in supination, as if without impronation. The parries. These defensive movements are so closely allied to the parries employed in foil fencing that I shall adhere to the name used in that branch of the art. The parries of primary importance are quarte, which, with its varieties of high and low, protects everything on the inside, from the top of the head to the base of the trunk, while tierce affords the corresponding cover to the outside. The outside of the leg is guarded by seconde, and the inside of it, should the opponent attempt so wicked a stroke, is guaranteed by septime. To stop cut 1, parry quarte. Turn the hand to quarte, carry it a little to the left with the point slightly raised, and receive the cut on the full edge of the forte as near the shell as possible. Figure 22. To stop cut 2, parry tierce. Turn the nails down, carry the hand a little to the right, with the point slightly raised, and the edge directed towards the right front, and receive on the forte. Figure 23. To stop cut 3, parry septime. Turn the edge to the left, carry the hand a little to that side. Drop the point in the form of septime, and receive on the forte. Figure 24. To stop cut 4, parry seconde. Turn the nails down, carry the hand a little to the right, drop the point to the position of second, and receive on the forte. Figure 25. To stop cut 5. Parry court low. Turn the hand to court, drop it about as low as the thigh, and receive on the forte. Figure 22. To stop cut 6. Parry tierce low. Turn the hand to tierce, dropping it to the level of the thigh, and receive on the forte. Figure 23. To stop cut 7. Parry court high. Turn the hand to court, raise it about as high as the left temple, and receive on the forte at the angle where it meets the shell. Figure 22. Parry tierce high. Turn the hand to tierce, raise it about the height of the right temple, and receive close to the shell. Figure 23. Auxiliary parries. The parries of high octave and high second, together with the primes high, central, and low, and the St. George, which is also a form of prime, should be regarded only as defensives of an auxiliary nature, to be employed against a riposte or counter-riposte in the event of the hand being momentarily so placed as to render difficult a recovery to one of the first named series. Of these, the most important are the high octave and the high prime, as they defeat a riposte delivered over the blade after the parries of court and tierce. And against these powerful ripostes, no other defense is possible. Parry high octave. Raise the hilt to a level with the top of the head, and by relaxing the grip of the second, third, and fourth fingers, allow the blade to drop forward as nearly perpendicular as possible, with the edge to the right front, and receive cut 2 on the forte. Figure 26. Parry high prime. Raise the hilt, turning the edge upwards, and bring it over to the left front, taking care not to draw it in towards the body. Depress the point some 6 or 8 inches, looking to the front over the right wrist, and receive cut 1. Figure 27. Another high prime may, on emergency, be employed in the form of the hanging guard, by raising the hilt a little above the level of the top of the head and looking at the opponent under the wrist. The parry of prime defeats cut 5 by raising the hilt to the left front about as high as the shoulder, and dropping the point perpendicularly in the form of prime. Figure 28. By lowering the hand to about the level of the waist, low prime is formed, which defends the inside of the leg. Figure 28. The St. George parries a vertical cut at the head by raising the hand a little higher than the top of the head, the elbow to be well behind the hilt, the blade pointed to the left front with the point a little depressed. Figure 28. The high second parries a cut at the right side by raising the hand as high as the shoulder, lowering the point so that the blade is nearly perpendicular, and presenting the edge to the right front. Figure 25. The feints. All feints with the saber or stick should be made by a crisp, quick little movement of the wrist and fingers only. And as the opponent answers with his parry, the opening so gained must be attacked with precision and rapidity. The student can assist both himself and his master very considerably by practicing the feints at a dummy of some kind when he is at home, taking care that the feints should be executed just before the foot rises from the second position, that of guard, and that the cuts should be completed just as the foot touches the ground in the position of the lunge. The following feints are, I think, the most effectual. Feint 1 at the left cheek and cut 4 at leg. Feint 1 at the left cheek and cut 2 at the right cheek. Feint 2 at right cheek, cut 1 at the left cheek. Feint 2 at the right cheek, cut 5 at the left side. Feint 2 at the right cheek, cut 3 at leg. Feint 2 at the right cheek, cut 4 at the leg. Feint 4 at leg, cut 2 at the right cheek. Feint 4 at leg, cut 1 at left cheek. Feint 5 at left side, cut 2 at right cheek. Feint point in sixth at face, cut 6 at right side. Feint point in sixth at face, cut 4 at leg. The next section of the manual is the advanced lessons and is Hutton's instruction on a master teaching a pupil how to fight. These are not interesting to read, so I will simply plan to make a video demonstrating them in the future. I will instead skip to his section on the assault or sparring. To engage, having saluted, cross the blades and tap them smartly together twice. Then draw back the left foot so as to be out of distance and come to guard. Any hit given before this is done is distinctly foul play. A hit when received must be acknowledged frankly, and it is as well further to follow the old custom of Mr. Angelo's school by passing the weapon into the left hand, holding the blade between the forefinger and thumb about 6 inches from the hilt, with the pommel to the front, extending the right arm with the hand open in supination. If the sabers are very stiff, the point must not be used, but it should be permitted when they are light and pliable. When leg pads are not worn, the continental practice of abstaining from cutting at the legs must be adhered to. Similarly, when the single stick is used, no inside cut must be given below the line of the hip joint. Such a cut is to be considered foul play. After making an attack, whether successful or not, recover at once to guard, and in doing so, shelter yourself under the hanging guard, reverting afterwards to the median. When playing with a stranger, avoid, if possible, being the first to attack, but endeavor to lead him on by showing openings, so that you may be able to study his style and temperament. Receive his attacks with parry and riposte, and when he assails the low lines, employ occasionally a stop thrust or cut, supporting it by slipping the leg and drawing the haunches well back. If he remains passive and shows wide openings, regard them as a trap, against which feints must be employed to make him move his hand and so discover his intentions. Some fencers have a habit of stamping, shouting, etc., with a view to frighten their adversary. It is a foolish practice by which very few people are affected at all, while in a case where the opponent has become momentarily abstracted, the noise recalls him to his senses, when without it he might have been caught unawares. When practicable, attack direct. If you always employ a feint, your opponent may perceive that and time you while doing so. Watch well the opponent's sword hilt, observing his face also. The face is very often the index of the mind. And that is Hutton's The Swordsman, Part 2, Saber and Single Stick. Thank you very much for following along with me, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and if you would like to see me make more videos in this same manner, leave a comment. Let me know which fencing manual you like best. Maybe I will read that one next. Thank you very much.